Let's now talk to Dr. Haytham Al-Hamwi, who joins me live on the line, also from Syria. Good morning, Dr. Al-Hamwi.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us this morning here on BBC Radio. We just heard there from Holla, who was a Syrian resident before making her life here in the United Kingdom, saying that actually she supports Assad. We don't know the full story of what's been going on over there. We don't know how violent the uprising was at the start. And actually, we don't even know whether Assad perpetuated this chemical attack. So the West should keep well out of what's happening in Syria. What do you make of that as a Syrian yourself?
Regarding the Syrian regime, even before the uprising, I was in Syria in 2003 when I cleaned the street with my friends in Daraya, and the regime arrested us for that, and they sent me to prison for 4 years, just for cleaning the streets and do some activities.
So let's just make this straight. The Assad regime sent you, a doctor, to prison in 2001. Did you say 2003?
2003, yeah.
That was because you were picking up rubbish in the street, did you say?
Yes. Yeah. So
and why did they object to that?
This is the type of regime we are talking about. This is not. We are not protesting against them. They don't like any civil activities. They don't like people to participate positively in their society. This autocratic regime is like that everywhere, not only in Syria. So to talk about that the regime is supported from the people. Yes, there are some people who are loyal to the regime for different reasons. One of the reasons is they are corrupted like the regime, and there are many reasons. We don't want to talk about that, but about the chemical attack.
Yes.
If people are now have doubt about that chemical attack, okay, what about 2013? If Assad didn't do that in 2013, why he submit all his chemical stock to the international community? Why Russia agreed to do that at that time? So that means that they admitted that they did that in 2013. Come back to 2016 in Khan Sheikhoun, 2017, UN committee, specific committee for that attack, proved that it was Assad regime who did that attack, and Russia on that time vetoed the resolution against punishing him.
Tell me, this one from the weekend, this suspected chemical attack, do you have no doubt in your mind that Assad and Russia were behind it?
I have no doubt of that, but we as Syrians asking what's the difference between chemical attack and traditional weapons? What's the difference between being killed by barrel bombs and being killed by chemical attack? This is a question in our mind. Why international community only react to chemical weapons and don't react to being killed by only react to chemical weapons and don't react to traditional weapons?
I guess
for 7 years now.
I guess the reasoning is that obviously, well, neither is a pleasant death, let's be honest, but I guess that there is a perception, isn't there, that a chemical death is perhaps less humane. Whether you agree with that or not is another matter. Dr. Al-Hamwi, I'm going to hold on to you for a moment, if that's okay. We'll talk more to you in just a few moments here on BBC Radio Kent. But as the time is 9:20, Rose has the news with, as you've been hearing, it certainly is. It's Christo here on BBC Radio Kent. Thank you for your company this morning. We're discussing the very simple question, should we intervene in Syria? Joined live on the line by a Syrian doctor who has decided to settle here in the United Kingdom, Dr. Haytham Al-Hamwi, as you've just been hearing before the news and travel there. Dr. Al-Hamwi, thank you for holding and talking to us some more. So obviously as a Syrian who doesn't support the Assad regime here in the United Kingdom, how does it feel to you when you see those pictures coming out of Syria? Whomever perpetrated these terrible atrocities that are happening there, we're seeing these pictures. How do you feel as a Syrian seeing this happening in your home country?
As I said, it's these photos coming from Syria for 7 years, and more horrible photos than those who we watched last Sunday. But anyway, it's every photo is for us is painful, and we always ask ourselves until when this suffering will continue. How many Syrians should be killed until the international community find themselves responsible to put an end for the suffering and to stop the brutality of Assad regime and his backers, Russia and Iran.
Tell me whether you would then support Donald Trump, Theresa May, Emmanuel Macron going in with airstrikes. Would you support action?
Since you named them, I don't find myself supporting them actually, because they are responsible like others in the brutality there, because they left them doing that for 7 years. But anyway, it depends on what they want from that action. If they want to force Assad to go back to kill Syrians by traditional weapons, no, we don't want such action. But if it's to bring Assad and his backers to justice, okay, this is different.
Are you annoyed with the West? Are you annoyed with the coalition of countries that are just? Because it sounds like you are a bit irritated that actually, we see photos over the weekend that people step in. Go on.
Yeah, it's not me personally. All Syrians felt that they were let down by international community in general and Western countries in specific. We saw that they cheated Syrians, and not only cheated Syrians, by the way, they cheated Arabs in general. After Arab Spring, that we saw that democratic countries will support the democratic motion in Arab countries, but to the opposite, they kept silent in many countries, and they supported the regimes or the when those regimes went back again after the revolutions in different countries, they supported them. So we feel that yes, we were let down by democratic countries.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see the point that 7 years on, there has been so much destruction and so much death. I guess you must have a bit of a feeling that it might be a little too little, too late.
Yeah, of course, it's too late.
But obviously, we've had yourself and we've had Hala on a little earlier, who. And by the way, my partner is Syrian, so I'm quite au fait with this subject myself. And she was very supportive of Assad. She was, extremely scathing of the fact that the West has only reported one side of things. That actually, she made the comparison as well that if there was an uprising here in the United Kingdom, there is no way our government would put up with it. Assad is essentially only doing what our government would do. Is that a demonstration of just how complicated this situation is in your country when you've got two people with such polar opposite views and see the conflict that's taking place there in such different ways?
In any country, in all the world, you will find two different points of any story. Even in the Second World War or First World War, you find different stories from different parties. That's normal. But there are facts. Even, for example, the start of the conflict started by peaceful uprising, peaceful demonstrations. This is fact which Bashar Assad himself admitted in one of his speeches. So there are facts that Bashar Assad is using barrel bombs. My hometown, Daraya, received 5,000 barrel bombs, and many of those barrel bombs were filmed by mobiles and cameras, and they are on YouTube. So the Caesar photos, if you know about Caesar photos, the photos of people who were tortured to death in the Assad's prison, we have 50,000 photos, and they were investigated by professionals, and I know that these are facts that people are being killed. So we have facts, although we have different opinions about different things. I don't say that the oppositions are angels. I know that they are false in all parts, but we have facts. We know that majority of civilians in Syria have been killed by Assad regime and his backers.
Have you still got family there, Doctor?
I have many relatives there. Yeah.
You do still have relatives in your hometown?
My hometown is evacuated completely. My hometown, Daraya, is empty. No single man or woman or child is that.
Do you speak to your relatives there frequently?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And how is that, hearing their voices in the in the backdrop with all of this happening.
Yeah, exactly. When you were talking to when I talk to my relatives and I hear the bombing in the background of the call, how can you imagine our feeling?
I couldn't. I mean, that sounds absolutely dreadful. Okay, ideal world situation. Final question: what should happen now if you were able to decide?
I will try to to have an end for the suffering there by bringing Assad to justice.